hold on a second. What you're about to see doesn't have easy answers. A piece of iron forged 16 centuries ago that has never rusted, not once. A temple with 56 stone columns that actually produce musical notes when you strike them, and a river where 30,000 bodies burn every single year before millions of pilgrims who call it liberation. Welcome to India. With over 40 UNESCO World Heritage Sites and thousands of ancient cities, India is simply too vast to cover in a single video. So I picked 10 places, carefully, and each one has a story that will stick with you long after this video ends. We'll wander through alleyways so tight you can touch both walls at once, visit a market that's been running since 1648, and find out why the man who built the Taj Mahal ended up staring at it through a prison window for the rest of his life. And here's the big question historians can't agree on. Was the Black Taj Mahal real? A dark twin, meant to stand across the river forever, or just a legend? By the time we reach stop number 10, you'll understand why people don't just visit India. They survive it, and they come back different. Delhi isn't really one city. It's 7, built one on top of the other over 3,000 years. Every street you walk down, you're treading on the remains of empires. Start in Old Delhi, at Chandni Chowk. This market has been running since 1648, and honestly, it doesn't look like much has changed. The lanes are so narrow that if you stretch your arms out, you'll touch the walls on both sides. Spices, fabric, engine exhaust, frying oil, it all hits you at once. It's a lot, but that's the point. Step out of that chaos and suddenly you're standing in front of the Jama Masjid, one of India's largest mosques with room for 25,000 worshippers. The moment you walk into the courtyard, the noise just stops. It's one of the strangest contrasts you'll ever experience. The Red Fort tells the story of the Mughal Empire at its height. The Gandhi Memorial, the Raj Ghat, tells a completely different story. Just a plain black marble slab surrounded by flowers. No statues, no grand architecture, and somehow that makes it the most affecting thing in the whole city. Then there's the Qutb Minar, and at its base, that famous iron pillar. 16 centuries old, standing in open air through countless monsoons, and not a spot of rust anywhere on it. Scientists have theories, but nobody's been able to replicate it. Delhi hides things like that, right out in the open, where everyone can see them and nobody can explain them. Everyone knows what the Taj Mahal looks like, but very few people know the full story behind it. In 1631, Shah Jahan lost his wife during childbirth, their 14th child. He was devastated, so he did what rulers do. He turned his grief into stone. 22 years of construction, 20,000 workers, marble hauled in from across the subcontinent. The result changes color throughout the day: pink at sunrise, blinding white at noon, and a pale blue-gray under a full moon. Now here's the part that doesn't make the guidebooks. Shah Jahan reportedly planned a second mausoleum for himself, identical to the first, built entirely in black marble, on the opposite bank of the Yamuna River. The two buildings would have been connected by a silver bridge. Evidence for it exists: foundations across the river, accounts from Persian travelers of the time. It never happened. His son Aurangzeb overthrew him and locked him up in the Agra fort. Shah Jahan spent his final 8 years in a tower with one window, looking straight at the Taj Mahal every single day, never able to go back. Not far away, there's Fatehpur Sikri, a perfectly preserved imperial city that was abandoned after just 14 years because it ran out of water. It just sits there, empty and intact, like someone pressed pause on history. In 1876, the Maharaja of Jaipur got word that the Prince of Wales was coming to visit. His response: paint the entire city pink. Every building, every wall, every alley, the same warm salmon color, because in Rajasthan, pink is the color of welcome. That law is still in effect today. The Hawa Mahal, the Palace of the Winds, looks like an enormous, ornate facade from the outside, with 953 carved windows stacked all the way up. But walk around to the back, and you'll find it's barely one room deep. The whole thing was built so that the women of the royal court could watch street life below without being seen themselves. At Jantar Mantar, you'll find the world's largest stone sundial, and it's accurate to within 2 seconds, built in the 18th century, by hand, from stone. Let that sink in. Amber Fort hides a 2-kilometer underground passage connecting it to another fort on the hill above. Inside, the Hall of Mirrors turns a single candle flame into something that looks like a sky full of stars. And at the city palace, a pair of enormous silver urns sit on display. Legend has it the Maharaja used them to carry Ganges water with him on trips to Europe, because he simply didn't trust the local water. If Jaipur is loud and golden, Udaipur is the opposite, quiet, white, built around a lake that reflects everything perfectly. The city palace stretches for 244 meters along the shore, built over 4 centuries by 22 different rulers, and somehow it all holds together. The royal Mewar family still lives here, by the way. Their dynasty has run unbroken for 76 generations. Let that number sink in. Out on the water sits the Lake Palace, a white marble building that genuinely appears to float. It was used as a James Bond film set, and looking at it, you understand why. Some places are just born cinematic. Udaipur is your chance to breathe. Take it. Because the next stop is going to be like nothing you've ever seen. Varanasi might be the oldest continuously inhabited city on Earth. Some estimates put it at 3,000 years. Others go further. Either way, it's been here longer than most civilizations that no longer exist. The Ghats, the stone steps leading down to the Ganges, are where everything happens. At the Manikarnika Ghat, funeral pyres burn around the clock. They say the sacred flame has never gone out, not once, in thousands of years. For Hindus, dying here and being cremated on the banks of the Ganges is the ultimate gift, a direct path out of the cycle of rebirth. Families travel enormous distances to bring their loved ones here. This isn't grief, it's release. At sunset, the Dashashwamed Ghat transforms completely. 7 priests perform the Ganga Arti, a fire ceremony with choreographed movements, enormous brass lamps, chanting, and crowds of thousands watching from boats on the river. It's hypnotic in a way that's hard to put into words. And just a short distance away, in Sarnath, the Buddha gave his very first sermon after reaching enlightenment. Hindu cremation fires and Buddhist sacred ground, side by side. That's Varanasi. Nothing really prepares you for Hampi. The landscape looks like someone dropped 1,000 giant boulders from the sky and just left them there. Orange granite, balanced in stacks that seem to break every rule of physics. Between and around those boulders are the ruins of the Vijayanagara Empire, once one of the largest cities on Earth, bigger than Renaissance Rome, so wealthy that Portuguese traders who visited in the 1500s ran out of words trying to describe it. Then, in 1565, it was destroyed in a matter of months. The ruins are what's left. The Vitala Temple is the centerpiece. Inside, 56 stone pillars produce different musical notes when you tap them. During the colonial era, British engineers actually cut one open to find the hidden mechanism. Solid granite, no mechanism. The stone just sings. At the Virupaksha Temple, which has been in continuous use since the 7th century, an elephant named Lakshmi blesses visitors with her trunk in exchange for a coin. Climb Matanga Hill at sunrise, and you'll see the entire ruins spread out below you in the golden light. It's the kind of view that makes you feel very small in the best possible way. Mumbai runs on a frequency that's hard to match. It's India's financial engine, the home of Bollywood, and a city of extremes that somehow holds itself together. The Gateway of India was built in 1924 to mark the visit of King George V. 24 years later, it was the exact spot where the last British regiment boarded their ship and left India for good. History has a sense of humor. Across from it stands the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. The story goes that its founder, Jamsetji Tata, was turned away from a European-only hotel and decided to build something better and open it to everyone. Whether that's fact or legend, the hotel has been standing since 1903. Dharavi gets called a slum. The reality is more interesting. It's a self-organized urban district generating around $1 billion a year through leatherwork, recycling, and manufacturing. 1 million people crammed into just over 2 square kilometers. And it works. Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, the main railway station, is a Victorian Gothic building decorated with Indian motifs that has no right to work as well as it does. 3 million people pass through it every single day. Not a monument, a living machine. Goa spent 450 years as a Portuguese colony, and that history is impossible to miss. Baroque churches sitting in the middle of tropical jungle, pastel-colored houses with tiles on the walls, a cuisine built on coconut, chili, and vinegar. It's India, but filtered through southern Europe. The Basilica of Bom Jesus, in Old Goa, holds the remains of St. Francis Xavier, the Jesuit missionary who spent his life traveling across Asia in the 16th century. His body has been on display every 10 years for over 4 centuries, and millions of pilgrims still come. Old Goa itself was once wealthier than Lisbon. Today, much of it is ruins. That gap between past glory and present silence gives it an atmosphere you don't easily shake off. The neighborhood of Fontanhas in Panaji looks like a corner of Portugal that got lost and ended up in the tropics. Narrow streets, yellow and green houses, painted tiles everywhere, and underneath it all, the smell of pepper and cardamom drifting in from the surrounding countryside. The same spices that sent Portuguese ships around Africa 5 centuries ago. It all started here. Kerala is the green one, lush, humid, threaded through with water in a way that makes it feel like a completely different country from the deserts of Rajasthan or the altitude of Ladakh. The backwaters of Alleppey are a 900-kilometer network of canals, lagoons, and rivers that wind through rice paddies and fishing villages. You explore them on houseboats, old rice barges converted into floating guest houses. Time moves differently out there. In Kochi, the Chinese fishing nets that line the harbor have been there since the 14th century. Introduced by traders from Kublai Khan's court, they still work the same way. In Munnar, tea plantations cover every hillside in an unbroken shade of green, up to 1,600 meters above sea level. Getting to Leh takes effort. At 3,500 meters above sea level, your body notices immediately. Headache, shortness of breath, a general sense that things are harder than they should be. But then you look up, and you understand why people make the trip. Ladakh is a high-altitude desert wedged between the Himalayas and the Karakoram Range. It's stark, dry, and almost otherworldly. Thixi Monastery clings to a hillside above the Indus Valley. From a distance, it looks like a miniature version of the Potala Palace in Lhasa. At dawn, the monks play ritual horns that carry across the valley in the cold, thin air. In the Nubra Valley, reached by crossing the Kardung La, one of the world's highest motorable passes at over 5,300 meters, Bactrian camels graze on white sand dunes with snow-capped mountains behind them. It's the kind of image that makes you question whether you're still on the same planet. And then there's Pangong Tso, a lake 134 kilometers long, sitting at over 4,000 meters, whose color shifts from turquoise to deep cobalt blue over the course of a single afternoon. Half of it is in India, the other half is in China. The border runs straight through the water. At the confluence of the Zanskar and Indus rivers, the two waters run side by side for kilometers without mixing. It's a strange, quiet symbol of everything India is, different worlds flowing together, never quite becoming the same thing. When you stand up here, above 5,000 meters, with all of that behind you, you stop trying to describe it. There's nothing to buy, nothing to photograph that captures it properly. You just stay, and something shifts. India doesn't let you observe it from a distance. It gets into you. And when you leave, you take it with you. So, which of these 10 places got to you the most? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to know. And if this video gave you even a small urge to go, subscribe. There are more of these coming. The world is bigger than you think, and honestly, there's no better time to start.